Hi, this is Doug Manch, and you're listening to Into the Night, a Moon Knight podcast.
Welcome back, loony listeners. You're listening to Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast. This is episode 259. It is a mini one. I am your host, the High Priest of Khonshu, Ray, and it's almost like a redux, a take two, unfortunately, for our 259th episode, which is a teaser reaction. The original recording between Rebecca and myself faffed it. So we lost a good portion of just over an hour conversation on a 15-second teaser, mind you. But that was a little disheartening. It was a fantastic chat, but I couldn't let that slide. And look, I'm just going to release this little quick episode. I wanted to read out the loony feedback as well and try to remember what Rebecca and I did cover, because that was such a fun chat. So hopefully you don't mind just a Ray ramble this time round. Don't worry, it's not going to be a long episode. But as mentioned, the latest teaser for Moon Knight dropped, and it is in anticipation for Monday the 17th, around 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time, during an NFL wildcard show on Hulu. There'll be the world premiere of the full trailer for Moon Knight. So we're all waiting for that. But before then, this teaser dropped 15 seconds, and it did cause a stir in our community. Before any of that, of course, a huge thank you to our sponsors, our valued patroonies, each and every one of you. Thank you so much. Also, Drew Toombs, Daniel Doing, CLZ Comics, and Dreamland Comics as well. Thank you so much for being our supporters and sponsors of the show. So I'm not going to go for an hour, similar to the chat that I did with Rebecca, that Rebecca and I had together, but I'm going to try and recap stuff, and I do have, luckily, some of Rebecca's notes here. So what I've done is I've done a line item of snapshots of what the 15 seconds included or had in its content, and after each of that, kind of go through, our thoughts. So the first shot of this 15-second teaser has Mark with a Rubik's Cube. He's just in bed, he's tossing it up. Nothing too deep in that. Rebecca did mention, she did say, was there a Rubik's Cube in the Eternals? And it could be a good way to actually give a nice little nod to the production being shot in Budapest, in Hungary, because the creator of Rubik's Cube was indeed Hungarian. So that was a nice little nod and a nice little opener too. I also did mention in the chat Rubik's Cube, a lot of puzzling, a lot of, mental strategies and thinkings and stuff that are involved are very apt, I think, for Moon Knight. Kind of sets a tone as well for the sort of character that he is. Next, in the 15 seconds, we see a flash. Now, the flash of the suit, right? So there was a flash with a reflection in the mirror of Mark Spector looking, and we see the suit. Now, the suit has now been confirmed. That leak that we got ages ago is now confirmed to be genuine, because the suit looks exactly like that of the leaked photo. And we did get some feedback on the suit itself. So I'm going to scroll through and see what people thought of it. So Derek O'Neill from TV Podcast Industries, a big shout out to you, Derek. He mentioned he can't wait for a peek on Monday, for the full peek. I love the quip of Oscar Isaacs. I love the quick clip of Oscar Isaacs getting suited up, and it looks very cool. Actually, that was for something else. We'll get to the transformation later, but thank you so much, Derek, for that. I'm looking for, David Pereira from our Facebook page. He says, I think the only problem I have is with the head. The hood is too big. The hood is too baggy, and it's not a full mask. So, I can see that as well. A lot of us are accustomed to the black mask or a full mask, and this one has almost like a mummy-like mask with bandages around, and you can see more than the eyes. So totally understand what you mean there, David. And the hood is too big. I think the hood's okay. I think I don't mind the hood, but again, I can see we'll have to see more of it, I guess, to make an educated. I don't know what I'm saying. Educated guess or an opinion of it. Noel Tate, he says powers, costume, villain. Which alters? I don't care. I'm getting a Moon Knight show, live action, on screen. I'm so excited no matter how they handle it. My own concern really is how they handle the DID aspect. And I think that is something that Rebecca and I agreed upon as well. It's going to have to be, hopefully that there is some sort of accuracy in it and not just falling back on the film tropes of DID or multiple personality. So that would be something to definitely look out for. Dustin Kurtz says, I'm just excited for any morsel of information on the show at this point. Would love a release date. Now, we will get the release date. Rebecca and I mentioned most certainly at the end of the full trailer. So after we watch the full trailer, everyone will know when it is. We speculated. We had a good old chat about this. It could be the 16th, the 23rd, or the 30th of March. There was that rumour it was the 30th, which still makes sense. The 26th would make sense as well because it kind of coincides and aligns up with the commencement or premiere of Obi-Wan, which I think is like a week later. And it could indeed be the 16th, which I think we've had precedence of it as well, where a full trailer is dropped and it's about a month you get before the actual release. So any of those are possible. I think Rebecca is hedging her bets on the 23rd, and I said 16th, just to make it fun, and we'll see what happens. But hopefully Dustin, hopefully Cold Case will get something there. As for other suits on Instagram, Lead Lee 101 says, I actually love this suit. I was worried they were going to make it similar to some of Moon Knight's suits that have more grey and black in them, but this pure white one looks sick. Thank you, Lead Lee 101. Rebecca did mention that, it does come off as a bit more grey, but I know what you mean. I think you're talking about the jet and silver in the comics. I do like the white suit myself, but I do like a little bit of texture to it, which is what this suit has. Look, I'm not totally on board with the suit yet, nor the transformation, which we'll get to. But, I'm willing to roll with it. As Noel said, we're getting a live-action Moon Knight. I mean, that's the dream. So, the suit, not my favourite, but good to hear. Lead Lee 101. We've got another one here, Marvel Gypsy. The suit is terrible. What is that? Why does he look like he's being taken over by a symbiote? This goes into the transformation as well. And Marvel Gypsy also talks about another scene towards the end, which I'll get to. Spawny_memes from Instagram, do you like the suit? I answered, not really. The jury's still out. So I could get used to it. I'm hoping this suit is, a prototype or a precursor to his more traditional suit. It may be something that Khonshu bestows on him initially, but hopefully maybe he distances himself from Khonshu, and maybe the suit is then a little bit more kind of handmade rather than a magical and, wraps around itself. So next bit of the teaser is a shot of the pyramid. And look, I can do these kind of quickly. There's three shots here. The shot of the pyramid, beautiful. The pyramid of the setting sun, establishing Egypt. We have Mark in the temple with Indiana Jones-like torches at the back, him slowly opening his eyes, and Mark running as well. So what Rebecca and I were talking about here was that there's a potential retcon here for the TV show of what profession Mark undertakes, and there is a real possibility that he's not a merc anymore, although he has fighting skills, which I'd mentioned. there's a possibility he could be an archaeologist. I mean, we're looking at an Indiana Jones-like kind of character, as mentioned by Kevin Feige. Rebecca reread the description of the TV show. There's nothing to say he's a mercenary. So maybe that's something that's dug up later on as we discover more about Mark. But he could start off as an archaeologist. That's why he's over there at the temple. Could be something more similar to, more akin to like the Dr. Fate, him kind of stumbling onto a temple rather than being left for dead and, being brought to the temple to be resurrected. So all that could be changed. One of the major takeaways I did say in our discussion with Rebecca was we've got to manage our expectations. I mean, there are going to be huge differences. There are going to be huge differences between the TV version of Moon Knight and the comic book. And we're just going to have to manage our expectations and accept that. I mean, it's not going to be your comic book. They've done it with all the other characters in the MCU to some extent. All we can hope for is that they get the spirit of it correct. And I want to call out here Adam Prine. He dropped something in on Instagram. I'm going to read it anyway. He says, I can appreciate the mummification and gold flare to represent Egypt. The glowing eyes are intimidating. I guess his suit just flames on. Mainly, I just want them to get the spirit of the character right, like they have with the others. These changes make me wonder how far it will be divorced from the comics. So Adam's talking about the suit and the transformation, which again, we'll get to, which is a major sticking point for a lot of the loonies, and myself as well. So there's an establishing shot of him, I guess, in the temple, a bit more of that. We saw it in the earlier teaser with Mark at the feet of what looks like the statue of Khonshu, him running, and as I said, running dorkily. Rebecca was talking about how most actors would probably run dorkily as well. Case in point, Chris Evans apparently is a really dorky runner, and the stunt double had a lot of trouble emulating Chris Evans's run. So I'd really actually like to see that myself. The last three bits of this teaser are big. So we get a first shot of Ethan Hawke, and he's saying there's chaos in you. So there's speculation again as to who he is. The thing he says is open for interpretation. It could be so many things. It could still be Sun King. We're talking about like the moon and the sun, and how the Sun King finds a servant of Khonshu as being, chaotic and all over the place. It could be a psychiatrist, which Mark has seen, and he kind of evaluates Mark and says that there's a lot of chaos. Or it could be, as mentioned here, Black Spectre. So what I'm going to do is let you know some of these listener feedbacks who did, and they did mention this, and a surprise one as well. Tomes of Evil, a comic book villain podcast. Russell says, we are Venom. Moon Knight, again, about the transformation. Joking aside, looks cool as hell. Looks like whatever Mark is beating up in the bathroom isn't human. We'll get to that. Almost looks like a werewolf. We'll get to that. Also, is Ethan Hawke Black Spectre? I'm leaning towards him or Morpheus. Maybe still Khonshu. Who knows? I'm just really pumped. Yeah, so we don't know yet. We haven't been given enough. To be honest, I think, if you ask me, and if I was a betting man, I would say Sun King as well. I could be wrong, but I still think Sun King or Khonshu would be Ethan Hawke on that one. Blake Buxton writes in, and he says, there was a gritty realism to it that I felt, just what I was hoping for. And Dracula, I'm assuming, looked super cool too. So, Blake, look, nothing is impossible. It would be a boon, especially for Moon Knight Core, to see Dracula up there, Ethan Hawke as Dracula. But again, we'll have to wait and see. Now, what did I... Oh, here we go. From Mario Di Giacomo, he says, no idea at all who Ethan Hawke is playing, but for some reason I'm getting a psychiatrist vibe, like Mark goes to him after his weird experiences and ends up having to battle him. I'm really not sure why. Maybe because evil therapists are a thing, and he's got a little smiley face there. For sure, it could be. Again, we don't really know. Also, I just wanted to say as well, Mario, he's noticed playing the teaser at slow speed. They are definitely playing with mirror imagery, with Khonshu Moon Knight appearing in Mark's reflection, in addition to the frozen reflection in the first teaser. So yeah, we do get that as well. Just wanted to call that out too. Also, moving on. Oh, Rebecca did say Ethan looks kind of bland in an unassuming way. So Rebecca said, but possibly in a good way. Will we also get a transformation or just stay as an evil man? And he does not have a bad accent, Rebecca said. Absolutely true. So that was cool. Good to see that we didn't get that horrible British accent. Yes, just another thing here that Rebecca said. He has a very basic bathroom. That was another thing in her notes. Rebecca did talk about whether she was really looking into it, and there was that shot of him on the bed at the beginning with the Rubik's Cube and him looking in the mirror with the flash of Moon Knight, the costume. Was he in an institution or a ward? Maybe, maybe not. But anyway, these are the sorts of things that we are searching for in this teaser. The second last thing, which is the big thing, is the transformation. So this has caused a lot of stir amongst the loonies, and I'm going to read some of them out now. So Chad, the power of Chad, said, since there is active transformation, can we start calling him Sailor Moon Knight? Which I thought was pretty funny. Rebecca explained to me Sailor Moon, how the character, she twirls around and the costume magically embeds itself onto her. Rick, the Rick Ball special, says, so the Sailor Moon Knight meme is canon now. I replied saying it probably will be, because we saw that transformation. As I mentioned, Derek had mentioned the quick clip of Oscar Isaacs getting suited up looked fecking cool, and I love that adjective, Derek, fecking. That's awesome. Also as well, I'm going to read, I don't know whether I'm putting this in the correct place, but Drew Toombs said, I wanted to repeat a point I put in a different thread earlier. Something that keeps crossing my mind regarding the showing of the suit. Whether you love it or you hate it, I think it's sick. When has the MCU literally ever shown a character's final and comic-accurate costume in the MF trailer, let alone teaser? I almost guarantee this is some manifestation of Khonshu or some wacky supernatural thing made for the show, but either way, I don't feel like he's going to be in it by show's end, especially considering the mummy suit looks nothing like the other one they showed so far. So great point here, Drew, and something that Rebecca and I dwelled upon, and that is true. We don't get like in the previous Disney Plus shows, we don't really get to see the suit. None of them were really leaked. Scarlet Witch, we were all kind of surprised at her final suit, which was fantastic. So this kind of leans into my theory that this is just the suit at the beginning, and it kind of changes, or Mark spurns it, goes his own way, and makes his own Moon Knight costume. Again, we'll have to see. As for more transformation comments, what have we got here? Mario Di Giacomo says, I really get a possession vibe from the Sailor Moon Knight bit. Whatever is happening, it doesn't look like Mark expected it. Added to that, something apparently stalking him in the first trailer, and I get the feeling that the possession won't be as simple as Mark passing out in front of a statue. So yeah, that's another good point. So this transformation is something that he's probably maybe not aware of, or something that Khonshu thrusts on him. Again, it leans on this theory that it might be just the beginning or the prototype of a costume. Wayne Hunt says, for better or worse, I'm ready for this series, loving the fact that the suit is very Spawn-like or Venom-like, wrapping Mark's body like a mummy wrap. Digging it. So yeah, Wayne, I can't wait to chat with you about this show once it hits. But it looks like you're not too fussed with the transformation. I was a little irked by it, I must admit, but again, I'm going to roll with it. Keith from Inside the Bunker podcast says, wondering if the transformation scene is in Mark's head as opposed to some power that they are going to introduce in the show. This is another good angle, like it actually could be in Mark's head, or as Rebecca said, it actually could be happening in real life, but Mark thinks that it's only happening in his head. So there are really different ways you can go about it. It would be a really interesting thing if it is just in his head, to what is actually happening. Because again, practically, I don't see how he can get himself dressed up in those bandages. Maybe he gets dressed up in something else, but he thinks it's Egyptian bandages. I don't know. Again, I just want to circle back to Adam Prine. He says, I guess his suit just flames on. We had a bit of a laugh at that because we've got now a Human Torch comparison. And I think that is about all on the transformation. So, yeah, a lot to take in with that one. But yeah, again, we'll have to see. I'm sure the full trailer will reveal more. But again, I reckon this transformation, the shots in Egypt, Moon Knight punching something in the bathroom, which we'll get to, which is the final thing, I think that, again, will happen in the first 1 or 2 episodes. I think Rebecca and I mentioned, Rebecca reckons it will all be in the first episode as well. So we'll get that all out of the way. You know, Marvel and Disney are pretty good at not spoiling stuff, so this might be just the tip of the iceberg, which is good. And finally, to round it off, we see Moon Knight beating up on something in the bathroom. Now, there's a lot of speculation here. I think it is Anubis's acolyte, because if you do slow it down, you can see the legs for one, but on the head, you can see like almost a jackal head with some Egyptian headgear. So I reckon 90% it is not potentially Anubis, but maybe a follower or an acolyte of Anubis. And I also mentioned that it would be pretty cool if this particular beast might actually herald in lycanthropy or werewolves in the Marvel Universe, in MCU. Could this be where Jack Russell kind of gets his powers from, somehow, with some sort of interaction with one of these beasts? I think it's a pretty cool possibility. But as for what others thought, Russell thought it looks like a werewolf, which is, I think, as Rebecca said, we want it to be a werewolf because of Werewolf by Night. We are getting a Werewolf by Night later on, but it may not necessarily feature here. But, you know, we could be wrong. It could be a werewolf. Also, who else mentioned that? It looks like Mario de Giacomo said, it looks like the thing he's beating on has an animal head. I doubt it's Anubis specifically. However, it reminds me more of the monsters from The Mummy Returns. Yeah, yes, I agree as well, Mario. It may not be Anubis, the god itself, but it could be one of the minions for sure. And I think that was about the only other... I mean, there were a lot of comments about it, just online and stuff, about it being potentially a werewolf. Again, I'm going on record to say I think it might be a minion or a follower or an acolyte of Anubis. We'll leave it at that. Anyway, loony listeners, let me just wrap it up here. Rebecca mentioned it in the bathroom fight. It does look a bit like Anubis, very spindly legs, but she's open to it being a werewolf. Just other notes that she had. She likes how the suit cuddles on, and I think that's a very endearing way of describing his transformation. And finally, the logo. There's a new logo for the show. It's changed. We had a bit of, again, a discussion. I like the first one. The blue one with the hieroglyphics were pretty cool, and I don't mind this one as well. I mean, I guess either or, but I don't know why they changed it. You know, I think the first one was pretty cool. I do like the sleek white, though, in the second one. So I guess what I'm saying is that either one works perfectly well. Also, as well, Rebecca did mention she wanted to give a shout-out to the Looney, and I haven't got here as well, but there was a Looney there. Let me know who you are, or I'm going to check it out. I'm going to give you an ITK sticker. They predicted that the full trailer will be announced or will be on the full moon. So that is absolutely correct. Apparently Monday the 17th of January is a full moon, so good call. That's an ITK sticker for you right there. A big thank you for putting that out there on our Facebook group, I think. So anyway, listeners, that is... Oh, actually, no, there's one more. J.A. Cunningham, I've got to add this, for the bathroom scene with Moon Knight just beating on someone. J.A. Cunningham had a GIF, and he put in Fist of Khonshu, Fist of Khonshu, Fist of Khonshu, and I had to laugh at that because, yeah, we know Moon Knight's moves aren't as flamboyant as Iron Fist. It's just all about pummeling, and that's all he did. So a big shout out to J.A. Cunningham for that as well. Well, listeners, that about wraps it. I'm not going to linger any more. This, again, I'm saying this is a small mini episode. Unfortunately, I couldn't give you the Rebecca chat that we both had. Sorry, what am I saying? I couldn't give you the chat that Rebecca and I both had. That's a damn shame, but hopefully this will keep you in readiness for the big next episode. So episode 260, it's going to be a reaction to the full trailer drop. And again, that is on Monday the 17th. It's from 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time. I don't know how long we have to wait before the commercial drops and we have the full trailer. It could be the first one. It could be at the end of the show. We're going to have to wait and see. I'll try to do this as a live stream, so please tune in. The live stream will be up on Twitter, on our Facebook page. I'll try to get it on our Facebook group, and I'll put it on YouTube as well, so you can check out our YouTube channels. I'll also try to, I'm wondering if I can or not, I will try to get the YouTube embedded on our website, itkmoonnight.com. If I don't do that, please check out either our Facebook page, Twitter, or YouTube, and the live stream should be there. And join us for this reaction. Come join the reaction and discussion for one of the biggest things to hit Moon Knight's fans throughout the character's whole history. I think it is a big moment, so yeah, let's celebrate it. I'd love to see comments there. Just let us know what you think after we watch it. Hopefully we can get it working. If not, look, worst case scenario, we'll watch it and we'll do a reaction shortly after it's premiered. But we'll see how we go. As for guests, I'm hoping to get a slew of familiar voices, so hopefully you'll see us all there. I've got capacity for 8 people in total, so hopefully we can get something happening. Just keep an eye out, and it's very soon. By the time you hear this, it's like the next day, so get yourselves ready for it. Anyway, that's about it for me. I'll let you go now, but yeah, thanks for listening. Can't wait for this full trailer, and please keep on dropping your thoughts in. Love to hear from you, and love to discuss. Catch you later. Please consider checking out our Into the Night Patreon page on patreon.com/ITKMoonnight. There are plenty of incentives there, like uncut material, bonus episodes, and more, and any contribution will help expand the show. We're sponsored by Fringe Night by Daniel Doing, and you can support his Patreon page at patreon.com/FringeNight27. Also, Tombs by Drew Tombs can be supported via his SoundCloud website on soundcloud.com/tombs. Drew Tombs also produces horror and sci-fi based music on Lurk Music. That's Lurk Music with a CK. And you can support his music on Bandcamp at lurkmusic.bandcamp.com. We're also sponsored by Dreamland Comics, the superhero superstore. Use the code MOON to get a promo of 20% off any online back issues. Finally, we're part of The Collective, which is an informal network of like-minded podcasters. It's a repository of ideas, and we also like crossing over and supporting each other. Please check out all of these shows in our show notes under The Collective. Moon Knight and affiliated characters, stories and events are properties of Marvel Characters Incorporated. Material used and discussed within the podcast are intended for critique and review purposes only under the fair dealing concept of the current Copyright Act. The views, information, or opinions expressed during the podcast are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of the copyright owners.